Welcome back. This is going to be Module 2 of the Articulate Advantage. Thank you for coming back. This is going to be a continuation of Module 1, the Mirror Mind. So I'm super excited about this one. I got my little notepad of truth right here, as Shaq calls it. Got my Mac in case I need to look anything up. And of course, I got me a nice little cup of Joe. Took like 2-3 weeks off and now I'm back sipping coffee, and I must say, it's delicious. It's such a fantastic stimulant. So, without further ado, the signal within. I'm sure you guys have noticed that there are certain individuals that go through life with such magnetism. Every time they speak, people look over. Every time they say something, they say it with such conviction that it turns heads, and they always garner people's attention so easily, so effortlessly. And this is what we're going to be going into here in this module, so that you guys can take that skill, study it, learn it for yourself, and be able to implement it in the way that you speak to other people. So the main 2 points that we're going to be getting into in this specific module is intention and direction, right? What is your intention when you are speaking? Because intention is such a deep layer beneath everything else. It's beneath your words, beneath your tonality, beneath your body language, right? Beneath all of this is your intention for how you're speaking to people. For example, my intention creating this content is I'm speaking to the version of myself that was not able to articulate himself well. So I'm speaking to myself, and as a byproduct of that, it's going to help everyone watching this video in a way that they can still take that information that I'm taking and speaking in a way that they can apply it into their own lives. And that's my intention going into it. And as for direction, what is your game plan? What is the route that you're going to take to improve your communication? Are you just saying, I want to improve my communication? Or do you have an actual plan and a direction in which you are going to get better at it? The same way if I say, I want to be a great piano player, but I never practice. We both know where that's going to lead, right? We both know how that's going to turn out. So in terms of intention, I want to make it clear that there are layers to communication, 4 specifically, right? So you have the words, the things you say. You have your tonality and your cadence, how you deliver these words. Then you have your body language, which says a lot, right? I can be open and speaking to you like this, or I can have my head down and I could have my shoulders in, and that's a very different message that I'm conveying with my body. And oftentimes your body speaks before you've even spoken. And the 4th layer beneath all of that is intention. Intention is beneath everything. And that's why you can feel it as humans intrinsically. We can feel it when someone has a sour intention or they have a good intention, and women are great at this. They can read that like so quickly, it's amazing. But that's something that you can also develop, the skill of reading intention. And the way you learn to read other people's intention is becoming aware of your own intention, right? As within, so without. And the more you start to notice your intention, you're gonna notice in other people how easy it is to read them, because you are reading yourself first. As I said in the Mirror Mind, you need to calm your mind in order to meet yourself. And when you meet yourself, the truth is people can only meet you to the degree of which they've met themselves, to the depths of which they've met themselves. So that comes down to how deep are you willing to meet yourself? Because if you meet yourself at a very deep level, you're going to start to notice that it's much easier to pick up on other people's body language because you're aware of your own body language, their tonality because you're aware of your own tonality, and you understand where I'm going with this. So I'm very excited about this one. And it's true, I used to see it all the time growing up. There's certain people that just have this aura about them. They have this magnetism. Every time they speak, people pay attention. They garner respect. It's not even that they're asking for it. They're taking respect. Because as soon as they walk into the room, everybody's looking at them. Everybody's paying attention. Everybody's hoping to get that look. Everybody's hoping to get that little bit of attention. And this is something that is learned. It's not something that you're born with. At least for me, I can say, because I wasn't born with any of those skills. It's something that I learned through time, through trial and error, And all of those skills that I've accumulated over time and equipped in my arsenal is what I'm sharing with you guys today. This is going to be the second module, so obviously we're going to have module 3, module 4, and module 5 coming out as well. But within these first two modules, there's going to be a lot of good stuff for you to work with, as well as a little bit of practice that I want to give you guys at the end of this. So stay tuned till the end. There's going to be a really good practice that you can utilize for yourself, and this is going to make a huge difference in the way that you communicate. But more importantly, the way you see yourself, because self-image is very intertwined with all of this. So I have a couple PowerPoints that I want to get through. And as we do that, I want to ask, your tone reveals your true agenda before your words do. So what is your true agenda, right? You're here trying to improve your articulation, okay? Why do you want to get better at articulation? Do you want to help people? Do you want to be the next Machiavelli, right? Like, is your intention to be the next warlord that takes over the country? Or do you have honest and genuine intentions to serve people in a way that you provide value to them? Because this will make a difference. A strong why is much more important than the how. I'll say that again. A strong why is much more important than the how. You don't need to know how. As long as you have a strong why, it will always bring you back into alignment. So you have to realize that this is something that is at the layer, it's at the core, which is why I put it in module 2 right after the mirror mind, because this is something that I want you to understand is the foundation of everything. So it's important to get this down to the needle, right down to the millimeter, right? So every time you speak, you're transmitting a frequency. What is that frequency that you're transmitting? And we can take this on a quantum level, and we understand that we live in an ocean of motion. Everything is always vibrating. The only constant is change. Even solids are vibrating at a certain frequency that we can touch and we can see, and they appear to be solid. But on a quantum level, everything is vibrating, right? And I'll take this a step further. My voice right now in my throat, it is vibrating. And the reason that you can hear this vibration is because your ears were created to pick up on those vibrations. Another step beneath that would be symbols, understanding that a letter is a symbol. You put symbols together and then you get words. And these words we all attribute meaning to, okay? But these symbols are vibration. They come down to, they are emitting a certain frequency. Each symbol emits a certain frequency, which is why a lot of religions use symbol, because it's very powerful. And it's something that is noticeable without needing to communicate it. You see it. You know what that is. You see this symbol, you know exactly what that means. And everybody does. And it brings people together or it tears people apart. But the symbol is a symbol nonetheless, right? Now I want to give you guys a great example. When you buy something from Amazon, there's a barcode attached to it, right? And that's what allows for the huge warehouse that they have that has millions, if not billions of product, to be able to scan the right product and ship it to your house. Following? This is a frequency. This is a specific universal barcode, if you will. And that's something that you're doing but unconsciously. And what I'm doing is I'm helping you bring that into your conscious mind so that you can alter the frequency that you're transmitting. Because the same way that the barcodes on Amazon are emitting a certain frequency so that when they scan it, they know you ordered this or that. You are emitting and transmitting a frequency every single day. And there's a baseline frequency, as we talked about in psychocybernetics in the previous module, in module 1 of the mirror mind. That frequency is often at a baseline, and it never changes because the universe likes flow. It likes things to be as they are. So when you try to break that mold and you're acting a different way, or you're trying to make more money or get into a healthy relationship, you're shaking that foundation a little bit. You're breaking the mold, and the universe will try to hammer you back into where you were before because it likes that equilibrium. It likes things to stay as it is. You can only have what you already have, right? And that's why you don't wait for the world to give you things. You need to give them to yourself, because everything that the world gives you, it can also take away. A great example of that is confidence. If you're only confident because other people are cheering you on and telling you how great you are and you did amazing, then as soon as those same people start to badmouth you and talk behind your back, your confidence is shattered. And that's why you need to give yourself confidence. You need to give yourself abundance. You need to give yourself the love that you seek in other people. And then you no longer need it because you already have it from within. Because neediness is unattractive. Anytime someone is needy, it pulls you away, whether that be in relationships, in business, in any regard. You can extrapolate this everywhere. Anytime someone is needy, it's like, I'd rather not. Right? So understanding that, if you don't need anything, you can have everything. The people that need it the most, the people that need the most have the least. And the people that need the least have the most. So, next point I have here is that why does intention precede articulation and why most men skip it? Well, I explained that earlier. Because you feel it. And communication is not about, like I said before many times, it's not about fancy words and being able to stitch together these complex sentences. It's about how do people feel when you speak to them. Because what's rare is telling the truth. But what's even rarer than telling the truth is being understood. And this is something that is missing in a lot of people's lives. They don't feel understood. And you've noticed it. Anytime someone raises their voice and they start yelling at you or whatever, it's because they don't feel heard. It's very symbolic, right? Anytime somebody raises their voice, it's because they don't feel heard. And they're trying to be louder. But being louder only makes people turn away from them even more because they were never trained how to properly articulate themselves in a way that people can feel what they're saying, in a way that people understand what they're trying to convey with their words, with their frequency, with their symbols. And this is something that you are all learning now. So I applaud you for that because this is a very important lesson. I always say articulation is a meta skill because it improves every aspect of your life. It's not just going to improve your sales. It's also going to improve your relationships and your business and your family ties and the way that everything, it improves everything. Because articulation, similar to intention, is the base level of everything. The reason we have societies now in these beautiful buildings and all of these structures and these businesses is because people communicate with each other. It makes me think of the story of Babel. When they tried to build a kingdom to heaven. I believe it was the story of Babel. When they tried to build a building that reached the heights of heaven, and God came down and he made them all speak a different language. Very symbolic, right? Because then you can't communicate. How can you build something with someone else if they have no idea what the fuck you're saying? You can't. Because they don't know what you're saying and you don't know what they're saying. So therefore, you tell someone, go fetch a pail of water, and he comes back with some breadsticks, like, well, this is something I found. You're like, what? We need water. And this is why articulation is so important. Because when people can understand you, which is preceded by you understanding yourself, which, to finish that question, this is why most men skip it, because they don't have the level of awareness to understand how deep this goes and how important it is for everyone around you and most importantly to you. This is important for you. And that's why I started this by saying, what is your why? Because the true why should be selfish in a sense. You should want to improve for you. Not for me, not for your mom or for your dad. We talked about it on the first call. The two people that you should be trying your hardest to make most proud in your life. It's not your parents. It's the 8-year-old version of you and the 80-year-old version of you. Because these two are you. And when you're 80 years old, you're not going to think back and say like, oh, well, I'm glad I didn't try hard. Like, no. You're going to be like, why didn't I start that business? There was nothing stopping me. The only thing standing in my way was me. I was the only one standing in my way. And same for the 8-year-old. Think of all those dreams that you had as a child, all of those aspirations, all of the things that inspired you, how much you enjoyed the process, and you didn't really care about the destination because you got to go for a walk in the park, and that made you so happy as a child. Like all of those things because you were present in the moment. You were there. You weren't worried about bills and groceries and getting to work on time and your boss chewing you out. You weren't worried about any of these things because you were a child. The main thing you would wake up looking forward to was play. You wanted to play. You wanted to go see your friends, and you wanted to go ride your bikes around the block, and like that's a beautiful way to live life. Obviously, it's infantilized, and we see that as a childish way to see things, the same way we infantilize imagination. We see imagination as a childish thing. We don't recognize the power that is in imagination. I believe it was Albert Einstein that said imagination over intelligence. He was a pretty smart chap. And it's true. And back to vibration, because I'm thinking about it now, Nikola Tesla said, if you wish to understand the universe, you must think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. Once again, all tying it full circle to what I was speaking about before. So how do you find your why for becoming a better communicator? That's not for me to tell you. That's for you to figure out. Because your why, I can give you some hints, but your why is determined by you. Because if I give you a why, you should do it because of this. That's my opinion. At the end of the day, it might sound like I know what I'm talking about, but this is just my opinion. What I want you to do is to be self-sufficient in your decision-making ability. And that's how you build confidence. Because you know, I decided I'm going to do this. I decided I'm going to operate like this. I decided this is how I'm going to move. These are my ethics. These are my morals now. This is the standard that I hold for myself. I decided this. And then nobody can take that away from you. But in terms of giving you some guidance for that, I believe I said it in Module 1. The 7 whys is a very powerful tool for you to use. So when you ask yourself something deep and you're introspecting, ask yourself 7 times. And this allows you to get to the deepest layer, right? Why do I want to be a good communicator? Okay, so I can get a girlfriend. All right, why do you want a girlfriend? Well, so I can feel connected. Okay, why do you want to feel connected? Well, it's human nature. Everybody wants to be connected. That's why in the prison, the deepest punishment that we can give is solitary confinement. Because connection is everything. So when you bring it down, and that was only 3, right? Like 3 or 4. So when you bring it down to 7 times that you ask yourself, you're going to get a very clear why. And it comes from you, which is where that power comes from. Because you gave yourself that answer, which is beautiful. And that's what I want for each and every one of you. And I know that you can do it because I've done it for myself. So follow these steps and take it to heart, everything I'm saying here. Because even though it's my opinion, I'm speaking from experience. I know this stuff, and I used to not have these answers, and I used to look everywhere for them. And you know how it is on the internet. You look for answers online about this, and this person says red, and that person says blue, and this person says green, and then you're like, shit, I don't even know where to go from here, because everyone's contradicting themselves. That's why it's better when the answers come from within. Okay? So, do you want to be heard, felt, understood, or worshipped? Back to your why, right? Like, which one of these is speaking to you? But each one of these, if you feel like you want to be heard, felt, or understood, ask yourself why. And that's going to really give you a deeper understanding of it. So in terms of paralinguistics, which means how you can read facial expressions and how your facial expression is expressed, right? Like I can tell someone like, I'm so happy to see you. Or, yeah, I'm so happy to see you. It's like the tonality was different, but so was my face. And that really reads a lot. And a great thing that you can do to read people around you is that first microsecond when they see you, the face that they make, that's how they truly feel about you. Because a lot of people put a mask on. Right away, they put a mask on. But in those few seconds, like if you sneak up on a coworker and you say good morning and they turn around, they kind of grimace at you, that person doesn't really like you. They might put up a front, or if their first reaction is a big smile and then they kind of tone it down, that person loves you. That person really wants you around and they're so happy to be around you. But that quick little microsecond before, and a really good way you can bond with people is to match their micro expressions, which is very high level stuff, but for another video, just to understand that paralinguistics is very powerful. And if you guys want me to do another chapter on paralinguistics, maybe as like a bonus, let me know, because I find paralinguistics to be super interesting. And they're very subconscious because a lot of the times you don't know the faces that you're making. You don't know because you're not paying attention to that kind of stuff. And then, like everything else, like your self image and your self critic and all of these inner worlds that I'm pointing you towards, they're malleable. So you can change the way that you speak. You can change the way that you sound. You can change the way that people feel when you speak to them. And this is important to understand, that the power is in your hands. This is not something that you are a victim of. So the mini practice that I wanted to leave you guys with at the end is to record yourself delivering a 2-line message with 2 different intentions and to feel the shift. So say the same message, but change your intention. And you could say whatever. I'm not going to give you the line. I want you to figure it out for yourself. I want you to pick something yourself and really dive deep on this and notice the small paralinguistic changes, your tonality. And the more you become aware of this stuff, the easier it's going to get for you. For yourself. Notice them in yourself first. Don't worry about analyzing other people yet, right? Focus on analyzing yourself. And when you do that, you're naturally going to become better at analyzing other people. And another exercise that I would like you guys to do is to ask yourself, what do I want people to feel when I speak? And when you create this verbal mission statement, write it out, but then speak it to camera. Speak it in a recording. And notice how different it feels from writing it and speaking it. Because it might feel weird at first. Maybe it's like, I'm a millionaire, right? And then it might feel like, oh, this is weird. Like, obviously, you're not a millionaire. But then if you keep saying it with that same intention, you're going to feel the same. But if you change your intention and you change the emotion that you feel when you say, I'm a millionaire, it's going to be very different. And like I said, you don't have to use that specific phrase. Pick any phrase that speaks to you. But pick a phrase and flip it. Flip around the intentions, and this is something that's going to be huge for you guys. I promise you. I've got some really interesting exercises in Module 3 coming up. So I'm really looking forward to hearing you guys, or for you guys to listen to that module, because Module 3 is when we're definitely starting to hit the ground running. And we're also going to have that live call coming up as well. So if you have any questions from this interaction, feel free to write them down. We're going to create a chat within the Articulate Advantage module so that we can keep note of all these questions. That way you don't have to keep them in your mind. But in the meantime, keep them on a notepad, in your phone, or a piece of paper, or wherever. But keep them there, and I want you guys to ask yourself, how would I respond to these questions? Because this is going to build that self-sufficiency muscle. The more you become self-sufficient, the more you're going to not need me to answer these questions for you. And like I said, I'm always happy to do that. But my intention here is to make all of these articulate assassins that I'm training completely self-sufficient, so that you don't need to ask questions to anybody else. You simply sit in a meditative state and you ask yourself, and thus it shall be. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Much love. I'll catch you in the next one.